What's up, guys? I'm getting this set up real quick, so give me a second. I need to send this over to Kirsten so she could join, and then we should be good to go. All right, so I think everything is pretty much set up for the most part. All right, cool. Let me send her this link real quick so she can get into this room. Let's see. All right, she's on her way. So what's good here? Looks like US 30 took a dump over here. So whoever took that daily entry, yeah, I'm full TP. I forgot who asked about this. Just hey, Kirsten, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Perfect. How's it going?
Alive, just about.
Well, good to hear.
Very hectic day, I'm afraid.
What was that? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
It's a very hectic day, I'm afraid.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you've been busy today. You've been, and the time difference is so different for you. What time is it over there right now?
It's 9 o'clock at night.
Okay, well, that's not too bad. I thought it was like past midnight over there for you.
Not just yet, though.
Almost there.
But I think the other time that you was you said it was going to be like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, no, I'm not getting out of bed for that.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, no, it's a little too early for you, and a little too late if we push this back a little further. All right, so let's get started. So do you have any certain questions, like any specific questions that you have, or is there something that you want to cover more specifically? This is your session, so anything that you want to cover, I'm here to help you.
I think what I'm finding a lot easier and a lot more consistent for me is definitely, like you said, the Forex pairs. Because every time I try that's it, I always end up blowing my profits for the day. So I just need to leave US 30 alone for now.
Yeah, I think for now, because it seems like, obviously it takes a lot more capital to trade US 30. So maybe right now is just not the time for you to focus on US 30. Maybe just focus on, the Forex pairs currently.
Yeah, I definitely think that's better.
Yeah, definitely. So for your Forex pairs, is there a specific one that you like to trade, or do you just look through the entire watch list?
I've got my own little watch list.
Okay.
But I'm not really bothered about them. I mean, I like GJ, and I think it was it was an AUD pair that moved quite quickly. I can't remember which one it was now because there's so many AUD pairs on it now.
Yeah, most of the AUD pairs that cross with like the Euro pairs, they all move pretty quickly, like Euro AUD, GBP AUD, and basically a couple of the other AUD pairs like AUD NZD. There's certain pairs that cross with AUD because the AUD is such a cheap pair. So if you pair it with something that's expensive, it's going to move a lot faster, like something with the pound versus the AUD. It'll move like, 30, 40 pips at a time.
Yeah, that's what I was noticed when I was looking at it the other day. There was like a candlestick. It was yesterday evening, I think. That was like 300 pips or something stupid like that, and I was like, I didn't even know Forex moved that much, but it did.
Yeah. Yesterday was like an outlier though, because yesterday was it was a big news day. It was the FOMC. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but the US Treasury was speaking, so that caused a lot of the crazy movements yesterday. So yesterday was a bit risky. I personally didn't trade much yesterday. I just traded in the morning with you guys, and throughout the day I just hung out for the most part. So that's probably why you saw some.
Yesterday.
Oh, what was that?
They didn't do too bad yesterday, but
oh yeah, no, definitely. I was careful yesterday, so I took I think or maybe just like one or two trades, and I made this week entirely. I think I've been a little careful this week because I haven't had any losses so far from Monday till now, so it's been pretty good, overall. But I've just been a little more careful than usual.
Wow, you're smart. I'm not, obviously.
it grows on to you. You know, for me, for the longest, I was inconsistent for a long time. And for you as well, you know, this is still new to you. So don't get too discouraged, you know, when you run into these losses, because it's going to happen. Like for me, when I first started trading, I lost a lot of money, but I made it back like, you know, shortly thereafter. Like I was having a losing streak for maybe like 4 years. And I finally got it down. And I, you know, after a few months into my probably fifth or sixth year, I pretty much made back all of my losses. And then from there, it's been great. So, you know, it's a learning process. So don't be discouraged if you run into losses now. It's better for you to run into these losses now than later, you know, once you become more consistent.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to be waiting 4 years.
Oh no, you have me here, so you're gonna have a lot better luck, you know, getting this down. For me, I didn't have any mentor or any teacher really, so I kind of was doing everything on my own.
Yeah, that's how I started out last year, and like just watching everybody had different. They was doing everything differently, and I just couldn't. What's the word? I just couldn't understand one thing, and no. So I went onto that stupid Epic group, and then found you, but no, that Epic group was horrible. I didn't like it. So I just came out of all of it just even more confused. So that hasn't helped me. So I'm glad we found you.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, yeah. The good thing with K2 is, you know, we all apply the same thing, so there's not really much of a confusion when you're applying it. It might be a little confusing at the beginning, but once you actually get it down, like I saw your profits from the Forex, you did pretty well overall. It was just, you know, the US 30 when you started taking that, I think that's what ended up hurting. Because yeah, I looked at your profits here for the Forex, and it was actually pretty solid. Like you have
Yeah, that's
pretty
because I
decent.
was able to move the stop loss and things like that. I was trailing it all and making sure that I was actually getting the profits, which was is the game, I suppose, is to get all of the profits and that. But yeah, as soon as I touched the US 30, that was it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, yeah, probably stay away from US 30 for now until you know you build your account back up. Because I know you can do it. You've already showed that you can find consistency. It's just, you know, repeating that process. Because you can obviously, like, you know, just looking at your profits here, you obviously know what you're doing if you just follow the same rules over and over again. But you know, it's just about consistency, really.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm following is actually your strategy, like you're based off of the 4 hour time frame, like between zone to zone and the momentum indicator. That's what I've been using it off of, but just added like my own little twist to it. So if there was no momentum, then I was seeing if it was rejected off of pivots and structures, even though that's for your scalp. I was using it on the 4 hour, and that is working, which is a good thing. So I kind of switched it
Okay.
up a little bit.
Yeah, it's well, the forex market in general has been moving kind of slow on the 4 hours, so that's kind of smart of you to use, you know, the pivots, because I've seen a lot of people create their own variations. So if you find something that works, that's amazing that you can, like, you know, like add that to your strategy if you don't see anything from the zone to zone, because, you know, obviously the zone to zone isn't always going to be there, but if you're able to use the pivots, you know, you can also make profit trading other ways as well.
Wait, exactly. Which color was the strongest pivot? Was it the red one?
Yes, the red one. So it goes from green, yellow, orange, red
Oh,
levels. So green would be the weakest. You can see here that it kind of comes by. It'll bounce off it slightly, and then as it gets down to like the orange, you can see it starts to shoot up a little heavier. So like for right here, whenever it bounces off the green pivot or yellow, it only bounces maybe like 10 pips maximum. And when it goes down to the orange, it bounces up maybe 40 pips, and then you know it gets stronger and stronger as it continues on.
yeah. That's one thing that I was confused about. I wasn't sure which one was the strong. I thought it was the red one, but I wasn't sure. So, but it's definitely helping. Like the way I'm doing things, that is definitely helping. But it's just the US 30. But that's what my partner wants me to do is get the US 30 down. But I can't do it. Our account can't handle it, and I'm not willing to blow it until it's built up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, you know, US 30 is a whole different beast. It's a totally different asset. It moves very fast, so you have to be very on point with what you're applying if you decide to move on to US 30. Even myself, like I just started trading US 30 last year. I used to be scared of US 30 as well until I figured out how to you know, how to read it. But Forex, you know, Forex is actually a lot better, especially for you if you're not at that caliber yet to take, you know, those very quick scalps. This would be a good practice for you as you build up to US 30.
Yeah, no, I definitely will be building up. Sorry, I'm just reading through what I wrote down.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, that was the one of the things I was going to say. So with your course, the videos and that on your course,
Mhm.
I did, apart from the one that you mentioned to me the other day, which was about the zone trading. I have watched that a few times, but the other ones I got so confused because there were so many different strategies and different ways of doing things that I stopped watching them because I was too confused. That made me even more confused than I was before. So, is there particular videos that are so for the way that I'm going to try and build up the accounts or on the higher time frames and the forex pairs? Have you got particular videos on your courses that would help support what I was trying to do?
Yeah, definitely. So, like how you mentioned, you watched the K2 SR zone trading strategy. That'd probably be the best one to follow. This one right here, you know, the K2 SR zone
Yeah.
trading strategy. This would probably be the best one if you like trading on the higher time frames. This is the strategy that I use for all of our forex signals. So every signal that I call in you know, in the premium for forex would be using you know, that specific strategy. So I would recommend you just master that. You can even move down to the shorter time frames if you really want to. Like for example, here you like trading GJ, so if you wanted to go even on the 1 hour, it would be applicable on here as well. Like if I was to draw some zones on here on the 1 hour, let me just see if we could find anything. It's just the way that the markets has been moving the past 3 weeks. It's just it hasn't been moving smoothly, so it's been a bit harder for us to, you know, catch moves
Yeah,
using the
it's
strategy.
choppy.
It's very choppy, yeah, and this strategy works best when the market is moving directional.
Trending.
Exactly, when it's trending. So for example here, if I was to show you this strategy here, you can see that it does work. It's just a little bit harder to apply because there's just not enough space in between these moves here. Like for example, if you were to take something like this buy here, it's only about like maybe a 10 pip move.
Yes,
Um, and
not a
it,
lot.
yeah, it becomes a little difficult unless you're actively able to you know, manage the positions. If you wanted to go on the 4 hour, which you were saying, it actually works a lot better. But if you go back farther back, so if we go back here and I just show you so I'll draw the zones on here and I'll show you these entries. Like it does work. However, I think just this current week just hasn't been uh, as good
Great.
because of the it hasn't been as great because of the choppiness. But if you go back further, like if we go back to like February, you know, back here, you can see a lot more entries that were available for you. So like I'll just show you like how price is moving currently during this time. Like for example here, this would have been an entry. Like I'm sure you understand the requirements, right? It's very simple. I'll just put them down here again. This is going to be the K2 SR zone trading strategy. So first you just want to confirm uh, price break and close past K2 SR zone. Second, confirm direction of momentum via K2 momentum indicator. And then after that, you can enter on the open of the following candle. So it's pretty simple, you know, only 3 requirements. Well, technically only 2. But, you know, just looking at price here, you can see that, you know, price broke into the structure, or I'll just rewind it from here. I'll just show you an example of, you know, what we're looking at here. And maybe you caught this trade here. This is one that we actually looked at during the live session, I think
I
on
did. I caught
it,
some of it, and I had my stop loss too tight, but either way, it was profit, so I don't care.
yeah, you know, profit's profit, especially at this point when you're trying to grow your account. The main goal is for you to just, you know, lock in the wins and eliminate as many losses as possible. Um, but okay, so the first requirement would be to confirm a break and close past the K2SR zone. So for example, here, you can see that this red candle breaks into the zone, right? So at this point, you can start waiting for price to break back outside of it. So this red candle comes into the zone, this green candle breaks outside of it, and it closes right there. So that's the first requirement. You just confirm to break and close past the K2SR zone. So once
Hmm.
that happens, you just want to confirm the direction of momentum.
So you
Actually,
wait for the signal going.
actually, this wouldn't be an entry here because the momentum is red. So this would actually be the entry over here. Let me just rewind this. Okay, so same situation here. We were waiting for price to break and close past the K2SR zone. So for example, here, price was within the zone. And for the
Hmm.
green candle right here, price broke and closed outside of it, right? So you can kind of see what you're looking for here. This should be
Yeah,
the first requirement. First requirement is to break and close past the K2SR zone. The second requirement is to confirm the direction of momentum using the momentum indicator. So just looking back to the previous momentum signal right here, it's a
it's a
buy.
green. Yeah,
Yeah. So in this situation, you have a bullish bias. You're only looking for buys in this situation. So right here, we have requirement number one, requirement number two here. And then once you have those two, you can enter on the close of this candle. So right here, you enter a long position. And from there, depending on where you, on your risk, you can place your stop loss in many different areas. So it's very open-ended as to where you want to place your stop loss, depending on how your risk tolerance is. In some situations, people like to have a tight stop loss. So you can possibly put it, I wouldn't put it too close, but I would probably put it at the swing, which would be right here. Maybe about,
yeah. I've been putting mine at the bottom of the zones, but then obviously because I'm watching it and trailing it, so as soon as it's moved about 10, 15 pips into profit, I'm moving my stop loss to break even. So I'm not fussed where the stop loss goes because I know I'm trying to trail it. If it's going the opposite direction, that's it. I know it's not going to go right. If it's gone back into the zone, then I'm just closing them.
definitely. Okay, perfect. Yeah, if that's the case, then if that works for you, continue to do that because there's a lot of different ways to place your stop loss. You can do how you're doing. I like doing that as well, actually. I like placing it, below the zone. The only problem with placing it below the zone is that sometimes it'll be very, very wide. So from right here, it's 102 pips, right? That might be too wide for you. So just depending on your preference, if this is fine with you, that's fine. You can put it there. Some people like to put it a little closer, so they put it at the swing here for about
Hmm.
65 pips. Sometimes people go for very big trades and they put it at the actual swing down here, which is about 172 pips. So, this is kind of too wide for me. I don't like taking risk that wide. I would generally put it below the zone or I'd put it at the swing right here.
Yeah.
So for your example, if you want to put it below the zone there, that's completely fine. Because like you mentioned, when price moves into profit, you move your stop loss in profit as well, which is smart because you need to actively manage your position. A lot of people think they can just set and forget the trade. Sometimes that'll work, but a lot of times it doesn't. Sometimes if you forget it, it can easily go into the negative when it was highly in profit. Sometimes price will be way up here and people don't want to move their stop loss in profit. And then it ends up coming all the way back down in the opposite way.
Yeah. No,
So
that's what I did a couple of times with some of your signals that you sent out, because obviously of the time difference. So the majority of the time I didn't see that it had gone into profit until I woken up in the morning, and by that time it was already back in the negative anyway. So I didn't get the chance. So now I'm a lot more vigilant. So if it goes slightly into profit, that's it. Straight away, I'm putting the stop loss to break even. So at least I know if it's going to turn, it's going to turn, and I'm not going to lose anything. But I have seen that when I first started taking your signals, because of, like, obviously it's nighttime here, I'm asleep, so I'm not managing trades whilst
yeah,
I'm sleeping.
yeah. Sometimes it differs. During a good market, it'll move smoothly. Like for example, there's some moves here, like these entries over here. For something like this, you might not have to, move your stop loss. But in situations like how price is
Mm,
moving currently, like you've even noticed that price has been choppy. So when price is choppy like that, it's better for you to move your stop loss in profit, just to be careful. Or if you're going to sleep, I would move your stop loss in profit if it's possible, or if you're not able to monitor it. So, for example, here, like you were saying, you generally put your stop loss at the bottom of the zone. So like when
mm.
price does move up, like you mentioned, above there, then you can place your stop loss in profit, and then you can continually slide it up as it
Yeah, that's
continues
what I
to move
do, and
up.
I keep literally what you've just done with the red line there. That's literally what I do with mine, with my MetaTrader account. I just literally slide it up. I go
Mhm.
down to I think it's a 5 minute, and always keep it below the low on the 5 minute, and then trail it up as it's going in the direction.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, it's really smart to do on the 5 minute. Sometimes I see some people go on the 30 minute. Sometimes they go on the 15 minute. I mean, it's really up to preference. If you like the 5 minute, that works fine too. It actually is better because you keep yourself more engaged with with your position. Like for example, here you'd probably place your stop loss there at the swing and whatnot.
Swing, yeah.
And then as it continues to push up further, you can just continue, moving your stop loss and profit. And this would help you yield a lot of profit actually. And then right there, you might have gone stop down profit. But
Yeah.
you understand risk management. So that's very good because you understand that it's not, it's better to not be greedy and lock in profits than to risk it all just to, get a few more profits within your trade. And
Yeah.
if that's the situation there, you would have locked in, let's see. Yeah, that's still a pretty nice profit, like 50 pips. That's not something to complain about. So
No,
yeah, so that's good.
it is when you're using 0.01p, but
Yeah, once your
not
account
quite
is
there with the
once your
full
account
lot
is
sizes.
yeah, once your account is bigger, it'll multiply. Because right now you're using smaller lot sizes. So, comparing a 0.01 to like a standard lot, that would go from, 50 cents to up to $500. So it's a
It's a
big
lot.
difference. Yeah, it's a big difference. But since you're growing your account, it would be good for you to just, build your confidence now so that as soon as your account gets bigger and bigger, you'll be less worried about your trades.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
that's a whole part of it is the confidence and everything. I do know what I'm doing. I can do this, but yeah, it's just always have doubt all the time. Well, I have doubt. Am I doing this right? Am I not doing this right? Because sometimes, like, I think I said it to you on YouTube the other day about being in drawdown and waiting for the retest and everything. That's where I struggle. But these last 2 days, I've been, no, I'm just going to ignore it. I don't care that we're in drawdown. I know it's going in the direction I wanted to. Just ignore it. And I kept my phone closed and just kept an eye on trading view until I started going into the profits. And
Mhm.
then I was like, right, so that kind of that managed my emotions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely, 100%. There's some people in the group, they even delete the application from their phone. They'll enter a trade, they'll delete the application and they'll let it play out because in a lot of cases, if they just let it play out or if they follow, their trading plan, it'll almost always plays out. Because the thing is, we already have a strategy here that obviously works, right? I think that your main goal now is to just work on your trade psychology because you know that the strategy works, you know that it actually, yields profits. It's just now being able to manage your position without getting scared, right? Because that's what it really is. And I'm sure in a lot of situations you've seen that you probably could have made a lot more profit if you just, let the trade play out, or if you just let it breathe a little bit. But yeah, right now it's understandable because you're trying to grow your account and you've lost, a substantial amount of potential profit so far. So you're building up that on the confidence because you've already been broken down when you had, the bad trades previously. So it's all going to come with time. The more and more you apply this, I think if you do this every day, you'll start to grow thicker skin. Like for myself, you see me on the live sessions, and this morning our US 30 was like heavily in drawdown and people were freaking out. Well, not this morning, but yesterday, actually. Do you remember that trade from yesterday? I think you were on the session. Let's see
Days.
if I can find it. On the 17th. Yes. So this, I think it was this trade right here. We took this trade right here, and a lot of people were freaking out because it went into a heavy drawdown. Let me see where was it at? 6 o'clock. Oh, here we are. Yeah. So for example, here we took this trade yesterday, and for me, I've been trading for so long that like my trade psychology is it's just there because I'm so used to applying this. But like for example, here we took this trade, it went into positive, and then it just started dropping heavily. Like
Yeah.
it just like this candle right here. You can see if I go on the shorter time frame, we could probably see it better. So yeah, for example, here we were in this trade and it dropped heavily, like near close to our stop loss. And a lot of people were freaking out. And I was just telling people to, just relax and wait for it to come back because we already knew where it was going to go. So for example, right here, it was very heavy drawdown, very close to our stop loss. And we kept our cool. And then, thanks to us keeping our cool, it ended up coming all the way back up to where it was supposed to go. So things can change in a few minutes, right? It went from heavily in drawdown to maybe 4 or 5 minutes after straight to a full profit.
Yeah.
So the main key is not to second guess your analysis. If you analyzed it as a good trade, then you should trust your analysis. But that type of confidence comes with time and practice for the most part.
Yeah, so I've only been doing it I think it's just over a year now. So
Oh, you're still new, yeah.
learning,
So you've got
yeah,
time.
it's not, as what I say, it's not a get rich quick thing. It's not, I'm looking at this for like the long term and, for our future and everything, because obviously, as you know, my partner's not very well.
Hmm.
And I've got to have a back operation soon, to have my vertebrae fused together. So for us to physically go out and find work, and with the COVID and everything as well,
It's nearly
we need
impossible.
something else. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we had to find something to learn and earn some money. So I don't think I've done too badly, especially, we still have an account at the end of the day. At the end of a year, we still have an account.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way that I look at it. So I can't be doing that badly. But it's
Oh no,
just,
definitely. Yeah. As you're doing a lot better than most others. There's some people who have, they'll lose their account in one day because they really don't understand risk management. For you, you actually understand it. Like maybe in the beginning you had a couple losses, but you started to realize, what the mistakes were, and you were able to make adjustments to prevent that from happening. So you're definitely on top of the game, with correcting your mistakes. So I think, just with time, you'll build that confidence, and then you'll be better to go, moving forward. But it's just, like I mentioned, it's just going to take some time. It's like you mentioned, it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's more so a get rich long term scheme for the most part.
yeah. One day my partner will get his Tesla.
All right, soon enough.
One day.
Definitely.
No, it's definitely worth it though. But nothing is quick, because like my partner and I, we've rented houses for the last 10 years, but
Mhm.
obviously because of the COVID and whatever else going on, that's kind of going downhill. So we need something else. And it took us 10 years to build up that business, to know exactly what to do, the laws and this, that, and the other, and
Mhm.
everything else. And that's what I keep trying to explain to him, as well as myself, is, you know it took us 10 years to get to the point that we are at now. And obviously because of COVID, it's completely different. But
Things have
we,
changed.
yeah, I mean, it's taken us that amount of time. So what makes you think that by learning something new like trading, which is essentially a business in itself,
Mhm.
what makes you think that you're going to be able to profit off of that within a year? It doesn't make sense. Logically doesn't make sense at all. So he's generally the one with the impatience and everything, and I keep trying to explain it to him, but obviously we're trying to work together. But
Mhm.
it is definitely the mental side of it, of trying to, if something's going wrong, admit it and just leave it. Or if something's going right, you still need to leave, give some breathing room and stuff like that. It's trying to find the balance. Does that make sense? Am I
Oh yeah,
making
no,
any
definitely,
sense
yeah.
to you at
No,
all?
you're making 100% sense. I've been trading for, this is probably my 11th year trading. So, it took me a long time to get everything down. And, even my trade psychology, even till today, my trade psychology is still not 100%. It's a lot better than most, but it's still not there. Like you can see me on the screen sometimes when we're scalping, I still get nervous sometimes, and I'm still closing my trades early when I should let them run to full TP. It's something that you just continue to build over time, right? It's like you have the blueprint of my strategy. You already know how to trade it. It's more so now just the mental side of things. And that's
Yeah.
probably the hardest part with trading. You kind of have to just build that confidence so you can trust, every trade that you take. And it'll come with time. It's not gonna, like you mentioned, it's not gonna happen within 1 year. Even myself, I've been trading for 11 years now. It still isn't there completely. So it's you're on the right track though. You're ahead of the game. Because if I was in your position, 9 years ago, I think I'd be really rich by now, at this point. But I'm making it there. I'm getting it to that point. And it's just consistency. At this point, it's really just consistency, because every day I'm doing the same thing. I'm not changing the strategy, using the same exact strategy. It's just all mental at this point. So.
Yeah, repetitive. Yeah, that has definitely helped me since joining you. Is
Mhm.
is literally by you being repetitive and repeating the same things over and over and over again. That is what I think has triggered a lot for me. Um, because I'm now looking at the charts, and I know. exactly what I'm supposed to be looking for because I've looked for it God knows how many times beforehand. So that is a really, really good thing. I'm glad you like that actually, because I don't think I would have got anywhere without you being like that.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of other traders who change things up. Like they change the way that they trade, based on market conditions. But the way that I've developed, the strategies that we apply, they're all based off momentum. So if the market is moving, the entries will always look the same. If the market is not moving smoothly, then there's just not going to be any trades for us. So that's why it's easy for us to continuously apply the same thing every day. And it works all year round. Since it's based off momentum, it's not really based off price action. We can literally just apply the same thing whenever the market moves. If the market's slow, there's just no trades. But if there's trades there, we know exactly what to look out for. If
Yeah,
that makes sense to you.
yeah, no, definitely it does. But that's where I was stuck before, because I think I was questioning you about it. Was why are you trading against the trend and things like that? Because I didn't understand. Your indicator was momentum, so it's going to swing in that direction, unless obviously it's a false signal, a red candle in a green momentum. But I couldn't get my head around it. And then I was sitting there and I was looking for ages. And then I went and watched your video and everything. And then I was like, oh, it makes sense now. It works every single time. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
okay. So it's just blocking out everything that I've previously learned. And it is repetitive, like what you've been doing is that's what's working for me, is by being repetitive. And I know some people might find it boring and stupid or whatever it is. I don't care, because it's helped me.
Mhm.
So there's nothing wrong with that at all, but it's just understanding that, because of it, like where I've come from with the trading side of things, it not understanding why you're choosing a trade, for instance, like against the trend and stuff like that. It was just so confusing to me.
Mhm.
But it's working for you. There's a reason it's working for you. So I now need to look into this, why it's working. So instead of just saying no, he's wrong, he's completely like, it just doesn't make sense to sit there and think, because that's what I was thinking at one point. I was like, he's putting a buy, but we're in a downtrend. It just doesn't make any sense. And then after you explained it about the momentum and what you were specifically looking for, and then I watched all the video, and I was like, oh, okay, that works. And I kept going back, and I was going on all different pairs, and I was looking at it thinking, it's working. That's amazing. So you literally can trade against the trend, because that's all I learned. That's the majority of stuff that I ever found, like on YouTube when I was learning trading,
Mhm.
and was not to go against the trend. And then when I found yours and it was working, it was like a light twigged in my brain. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, I started trading only trend before. Like the original K2 strategy, the intraday strategy, that's based off the trend. So that's why we use the trend meter below. But then
Hmm.
over time, I started to realize that you don't always have to trade with the trend, because a lot of the times the trend ends. It's not forever. And
No.
especially if you're trading something like Forex, that's why this strategy works very well with Forex pairs, because Forex is a ranging asset. Like for example, here you can see the trend right here is very strong upwards. It's a very strong trend upwards, but the trend has to end at some point. Price reaches a resistance and then it comes down. So in this situation right here, you can catch some moves in this direction as well, even though it's going against the trend, and then you just rewrite it again as it continues to go back up over here, right? So yeah, I agree with you. That's how I learned how to trade as well. Until you start to figure out that that's not the only way to trade, right? Because I'm sure that's the way that you learned. You thought that was, you know, most of the time that's the only way to trade, but in reality, you can really trade in both directions as long as you can identify, the momentum of price. Because if there's momentum, you'll see that it continues on, and you can see from the signals. Like sometimes we have a buy signal in the direction of the trend, and it pushes up quite heavily. Like it pushes up about like almost 300 pips here. And it's just like the way I look at trading is that I look at it as a puzzle. It's like a new puzzle every day, and it's our job to crack that puzzle and take advantage of what the market's giving us for the
Get
day.
some money off it.
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. And yeah, it's good that you're starting to realize that, because I think that's the main problem with a lot of new people who come to K2 as well. They come and they learn from some other trader who teaches them that there is only one way to trade. But in reality, there's millions of ways to trade. It just, you need to figure out what works for you, and then, figure out how to replicate that consistently over time. So I've been using this strategy for maybe over 3-4 years now, and it's been great for all those years. So that's how I know that it's consistent and that it continuously works. And that's why I continue to apply it every day.
How did you even figure out how to put the momentum in there? What is it that, I don't know, the indicator looks for the momentum? Is that too technical?
It's yeah, it's a bit technical. So what I did to figure that out was, like, when I first started trading, I learned every strategy possible. I went on YouTube and I watched almost every video available, with strategies. So what happened was I pulled all of the parts that I liked from certain strategies, and then I put them into this indicator so that it can signal me when momentum is swinging in that direction. So it has to do with volatility. It has to do with the trend. It has to do with um, market structure. It has a lot of things that it takes into play. Um,
That volume.
yeah,
'Cause
and
some
volume.
people like volume a lot.
Exactly. People like volume too. Volume is kind of thrown in there a little bit. It's a little piece of it. There's just a little piece of everything that I like from different strategies and different indicators, that I just pulled them from all these different things, and then I put them into this one indicator to determine, the direction of price. And that's why if you look at all the K2 indicators, everything is there for a reason. Like, for example, the
Yeah.
trend meter on the bottom, this is for the trend. The momentum indicators to determine momentum. The K2SRs to determine rejection points and structure. So,
Yeah.
like when I said in the beginning, it's like solving a puzzle. What I did was I pretty much covered all corners of trading, identifying market structure, identifying the direction of price, identifying trend, identifying rejection points. So I basically put all the pieces together to create strategies that are consistent all year round. And that's generally what you need for any type of strategy. Because, like I mentioned, there's a ton of strategies out there. As long as you can find a piece for each puzzle, you can put them together and create a strategy out of it. And that's how I created this strategy and pretty much all the other strategies within the course.
So clever.
Yeah, well, this took me a long time. So it's, this was a lot of trial and error. Like, whenever I would create a strategy, I would purposely look for losses. I would look for losses, and I would analyze that loss and see what can I do different to avoid that loss. And that's when I started implementing these new indicators. So, like, sometimes I would just look at the trend and I'm like, okay, I need to figure out, when does the trend end? And that's where I created this K2SR indicator, because before it was just like this. We would take the buys when it matches the trend, right? This is how you learn how to trade. You trade in the direction of the trend. I needed to figure out,
Yeah.
when does the trend end, right? So I need to figure out when did this happen, when it goes opposite. And that's when I created the K2SR, and I'm like, oh, there's a structure here. So this is where it ends. It ends when it reaches structure. So that's when I created this indicator, and then I put them together, and here we have the K2SR strategy, right? So there's
Yeah.
a comment.
That's crazy. The way you took that off there,
Mhm.
and then you look at the blank chart and you're like, well, yeah, where is it going to reject for? Like, you couldn't see it. And then now obviously the zones are there, you can see it. That's
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, well, because of my previous profession before trading, I was an attorney, so this was my job to point out inconsistencies in things. So I was a defense attorney, so whenever there's an inconsistency with, someone's argument, I would always look for things to fill those holes, and that's how I kind of figured out how this works, because it's like the same with, like, real life things. If you have something that you're trying to solve, there's always going to be a solution to whatever the problem is. And I've applied those skills to trading, and I was able to figure out these strategies, vice versa.
You are a very smart man, especially if you was a defense attorney. We could have used you a couple of years back.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was something that I did enjoy, but it took a lot of time out of my day. I was working like 10-12 hour days, working at like a large firm, and it was just, stressful. So when I figured out trading, it was fun to me, because I didn't have to really deal with people anymore. And I was
But
dealing
you
with,
get to sit at home, don't you?
exactly, yeah, and make more money doing this. So it made all sense for me to just focus on trading than to continue with my profession, which I do plan on going back to my profession at some point, but not necessarily as a defense attorney. Maybe something more fun, like something,
Yeah.
you know, something that I actually enjoy.
Well, I know our solicitor, the poor cow, she's worked right under. She's absolutely hit because I got a private number. I know you're not supposed to, but we did.
Hmm.
And she she doesn't get time for herself or anything. Since she's joined the company that we hired her through, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And like she literally has to work night and day, weekends and everything like that. And she doesn't get paid for it because if she doesn't do the work and things, like it's not going to get done. And then obviously her customers and everything, they all complain and whatever else. It's just that's really hard work. I
Hmm.
know from her side of things, I
Yeah,
know
definitely.
how hard that can be. So yeah, looking at trading in comparison to that, no, that it's like a game. It's like fun.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a game. It's like, solving a puzzle every day. And with me going on these live streams with you guys every morning, it makes it even more fun because we're all in this together. We're all looking for the same puzzle pieces and putting this, all this thought process together versus, trading them by yourself. Like for the longest, I was trading by myself and it gets boring. It feels like a chore, like a job. But once we're all working together, we're all trading together. We share ideas. We all see different things, and from that point, we're able to better the strategy because there's always going to be room for improvement, and that's what makes it fun about this whole trading thing in general.
Yeah, it is really good, and I'm glad we found you though. But all of the other questions and bits that I had on my list, most of them I already asked on YouTube, and you answered earlier. So that's all. I'm glad that you're here and you offer people sessions and things like that. But I don't. Why do you do it?
Oh yeah, no, a
It's
lot
a
of
lot
people.
of work.
It is a lot of work, and people ask me that every day. The main reason why I do it is because I know how, like, I've been in your shoes before. I've been in a position where I wanted to learn how to trade, but I had no money to pay for a mentor. I had no money to pay for a course. I had nobody to ask questions to, so for me it's more of a me giving back. It is a lot of work, but I do feel some sense of joy from teaching people and guiding you guys into these strategies and seeing everyone's profits. Like, looking at everyone's profits here, it amazes me that I did this, that I was able
Very
to,
jealous about that. I do.
yeah, like seeing everyone's profits here. I'm like, wow, everyone is making like, thousands of dollars a day just applying, the stuff that I've taught them. And it's a good feeling, it's a good feeling that I'm making a change and I'm making this possible for a lot of people who have never seen, this much money before.
Money. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even if it's not me making the money, it still brings me happiness, seeing other people lock in profits like this because it's crazy. And you think about it, $1,000 a day, that's, if you add that up every day, that's a lot of money that it adds up to.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah. But they're doing the US 30, aren't they? So
Oh yeah, no,
they've got the
definitely.
account size to do it.
Exactly, right. Yeah, no, US 30 is definitely it's a fun thing to trade if you do it properly. I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of money trading US 30. But as long as you do it properly and you follow, what I do, it's easy to replicate, and it's very consistent over time.
And
So
simple as well.
exactly. I think that's the main thing with trading too. I try to keep it as simple as possible because I feel like a lot of people overcomplicate it. Like they look for too many things, or I feel like a lot of people, they have like this ego where they need to make it so complicated so people don't understand what they're doing. But in reality, price can go only two directions. It
Or
can go
down
up.
or sideways.
Yeah, it can go up or it can go down. If it goes sideways, it'll go sideways for a bit. Like for example, right here, price will go sideways, but eventually it'll go one direction. So it'll go sideways for a bit, but once it goes up, you'll either win or you'll lose. But as long as you have a strategy that works consistently, even though you suffer losses here and there, you're going to bounce back regardless. As long as you're consistent. The problem with a lot of traders is they go from one strategy, they start losing, then they go to another strategy, and they never master what they initially learned.
Started with,
And
yeah.
that's why I always try to ingrain repetition amongst you guys. Like even though people, sometimes people don't realize that, there's going to be bad days, there's going to be good days. But I've tested these strategies for years. Like it's, there's these strategies have been vetted at least for 4 or 5 years back. Even the US 30 strategy, I've tested that like maybe 10 years before I started sharing it with you guys. So I've tested them and I know that they work, and that's why I trust them, and I show them to you guys, because I know that overall and long term they'll play out. We'll have maybe a bad week or so, but the next week after that it's going to be good.
You make up for it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like how you mentioned before, it's all about risk management. You don't blow your whole account in 1 month, because maybe that's just a bad month, and then the next month you make it all back and then some. So
yeah,
that's really what it is.
with the intraday strategy, do you think, is it better to stay on the 4 hour, or do you think maybe go down to the 2 hour or 1 hour just whilst we're building the account up? Do you think 4 hours too long?
The 4 hour would be safer. So,
Yeah.
depending on like for me myself, I'm a conservative trader. I like to I like to win. I don't like to lose. So for me, I would prefer the 4 hour. If you go on the 1 hour or the 2 hour, you can probably find more entries, but they're not going to be as accurate. Like you'll find them, but they're not going to be 100% accurate as they would be for, the 4 hour. You'll get less entries.
Yeah.
They're more quality entries. So if you want to go back between those two time frames, I would I just would not go below the 30-minute. Once you go below the 30-minute, that's where it becomes risky, because there's a lot of noise on everything below that time frame. So if you want to bounce between the 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, you can bounce between them, see which one you like best. And if you find one that you really like, you can just stick to that one. But for me personally, since I'm more focused on US 30, that's why I trade on the 4 hour, because for the 4 hour, these candles close at the same time every day. So I know when to look at the chart, when this closes, and then in between that time, I'm usually scalping US 30. So I make profit both ways. I make profit from trading US 30, and I make profit from trading Forex off the 4 hour time frame. So I mean, it's really up to preference. If you want to take more trades, then yeah, you can go on the shorter time frame. But otherwise, the 4 hour is fine for me. I think it works well. So it's just really up to you how you want to apply it.
Okay. What lot size? Because I'm gonna stick with the Forex pairs. What lot size? Because our deposit is at 1,000 in there, so I think we've got 1,800 account. What lot size do you think would be good? Do you think I should just stick to the 0.01 and 0.02 for now?
Here, let me see. I have an application for that. It's calculators.trade. So depending on what you like to trade, so do you trade the pound, right? Like your currency is the pound, right? So you have 1,800, you said.
Yeah.
Which pair do you normally trade? I can show you right here, like what would be.
Just GJ probably is the easiest.
Very cool.
Yeah.
GJ like that. And then your risk percentage, depending on how much you want to risk. If you're trying to
No more than 3%, I would say
3%.
maximum.
Okay, cool. So you set that there, you hit calculate. It shows that, what is this? Oh, no, sorry. We forgot to put a stop loss. So depending on where your stop loss would be, I guess like 100 pips would be, do you know like what's generally like the stop loss you usually use? What's like an average number?
Let me grab where's my trading view? If it loads, that's not helpful. Right. So my stop loss that I've got for my previous trade for GJ is 70 pips.
70 pips? Okay. So if we put 70 pips, you could average your position size to a 0.12. That'd probably be the average. If we go up to 100 pips, let's see if it differs very much. Not very much. So it's between 8 and 12.
That's a big difference to what I'm using now.
Well, what are you currently using now?
0.01 and 0.02.
Or are you using larger lot sizes?
No, smaller lot sizes.
Okay, so yeah, maybe that's why your profits aren't as big as they should be. Because so this would be based off your risk percentage. So I guess depending on where your stop loss, I think maybe a 0.12 or maybe a 0.10 would probably be good for you. And it'll keep you within the risk percentage of 2 and 3%. So that way you can consistently grow your account. Versus, because if you're only doing, you said like, less than that. So if you're doing less than that, you're probably using like maybe a 0.04.
Yeah, we use it even less than that because we use the maximum. Yeah. So
I
I think it's about 0.5%.
Yeah, half a percentage. So if you do this, I mean, you're trading safe, but it's going to be nearly impossible to grow your account, right? Because you're only making £9 per trade. So maybe increase your lot size, but I wouldn't just increase just because maybe once you feel very confident, then you can increase it. But yeah, this is kind of too low because it's going to be very hard to grow your account from
Yeah.
1,800. If 1% is probably fine, you'll make £18 per trade. But obviously, if you're doing a 3%, you'll be making 54. A dollar, comparing a dollar to 54 or £1 to 54 pounds, big difference, right? When you're growing the
Yeah.
account.
Yeah.
So
Massive difference.
yeah, so maybe you can use between a 2 and 3. If you want to look at this website, it's called calculators.trade. Very simple website.
Um,
And then you can check that on your account as well, depending on what you like to trade. Because obviously you can change it up. You can change it from whatever pair that you like down here. If this is GJ. If you like to trade GA, you can switch that as well. And the lot sizes don't change very much. It goes from 12 to 14, so it's not a big difference.
yeah. It's better than what I'm doing now because it's just going to take me years and years and years to try and build it back
Exactly.
up again.
Yeah, exactly. And with trading, you have to take risk. Like, if you want to stay at 1% risk, maybe when you have $100,000 account, right? Because if you have a bigger account, like for example, if you have $100,000 account and you're risking 1%, that's
Yeah,
gonna make
that's a lot. It's 1,000.
yeah, 1,000. So you can see that when you have a bigger account, you can use less risk. But when you have a small account like 1,800, it might be best for you to maybe risk a little more, but only if you feel confident. So you can do that on a case by case basis as well. If you feel very confident about a trade, you can risk a little more. If you don't feel very confident, then you'll risk a little less.
Yeah.
And it's going to be case by case, especially. But even if this is the case, like even if you were to risk 3%, if you were to risk 3%, we do 100 divided by 3%, you have to lose 33 trades back to back. What are the odds of losing 33 back to back trades? Not very likely.
33 trades in a day, let alone.
You would have to have a horrible losing streak to lose 33 trades. So I think 3% should be fine for you. And I think you should be fine because looking at your trades here, like looking at your profits, for example, here, or not even your profits, just looking at how many blue trades you have here. If you count these all up and you have more wins and losses, you should be more in profit than you are in loss, because the percentage is gonna be based off your wins, not your losses.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. Just me being silly with the US 30. Stay away.
Yeah, I definitely would stay away from it. I mean, if you want to take it, I would recommend just taking it during the live session. So if you're in my live session and I say to buy and I say to exit, then you'll be safer that way. You applying it on your own is going to be a little bit more riskier because when you trade US 30, the profits are moving very fast. You go from like negative $50 to like positive $100 to like negative $500. It's going to play with your emotions if you see the money bouncing around so quickly. So if you decide to take US 30, I would recommend just taking the ones that I'm taking on my own account live with you guys. Because sometimes when I go live, I'll call it, I'll say, I'm going to enter this trade, I'm going to exit here. You can easily just enter and exit whenever I do, and you can yield similar profits to what I'm making. But yeah, I would probably hold off on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would. That's why another reason why I deposited the extra money in there was so that when you do go live in the or afternoons for us, that I can follow you. But today was just a busy day. But that's generally what the plan was with the extra money that we put in there to follow you on the US 30, and then I'll just stick to the Forex pairs during the day and master
Definitely, yeah.
them.
Yeah, and that should work out perfectly for you since you're located in the UK. You're located in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Since you're located in the UK, you get to trade London session, which is actually one of the best sessions for Forex anyways. So you actually have an advantage trading London to US session because those are the best sessions to trade Forex since volatility is very high and you can catch trades more often rather than, how I trade the Asia session. It's a dead market. It's not very fast at all. So
When I look at it like in the evening times, like now, it's so slow. Or if I'm
oh,
up really early in the morning before sort of 6 a.m. my time, which is going to be like nighttime, like I don't know, about two,
Nighttime
3
for
in
me.
the
Yeah.
morning for you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so slow. The market's dead, and sometimes when US 30 goes like that, and I'm sitting there thinking, this is boring, really, because I'm used to seeing it. Because obviously, of my time, I'm used to seeing it moves just so quickly, and you really notice when it's slowed down for news or whatever it is. You really notice it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, that's why it's a little better for you because your midday is going to be when the market's actually moving and
Yeah,
not slow.
which is a good thing.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. So is there any other questions that you want to cover? I want to make sure that we cover everything. So I want to make sure you leave this session with everything answered and no confusion.
I have a smile on my face, so that's a good thing.
No, that's good. That's good. That's good. Trading should make you happy. It shouldn't make you sad.
Well, it doesn't know, but no, all of the other questions and everything that I sent to you, and also you answered on YouTube the other day. So
Mhm.
no, they're fine. I remember that. I just wanted to make sure I've got everything and I'm doing the right thing now. So
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it was good that we had this session because me and you can talk one on one. It's not in the YouTube where there's so many people and I miss your question every so often. And it's better for us to, actually knock everything out so that you on the confidence train. You want to make sure that the main thing with trading is you want to make sure your confidence is always high. Even if you're losing, confidence has always got to be high. Don't let that bring you down. Because I see a lot of people sometimes they'll lose one trade and then they'll just revenge trade, and they end up blowing their account. So another word of advice is if you don't feel comfortable with the trade, I would just close it out, even if it's for a loss. Because when your emotions start to get involved, that's generally where the bad things start to happen with your account because you start taking a lot of unnecessary trades.
yeah, revenge trading.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. Not doing that again.
Yeah, no, you're good now because now you understand.
Took me a while, but yeah,
Yeah, better late than never, right?
exactly. But compared to you, it took you 4 years. We've only been doing it a year, so there's a big difference there.
Yeah, you'll run into road bumps, but I'm here to help you guys. So whenever you run into those road bumps, I'm always going to be here to answer your questions and bring some clarity to any confusion that you guys have, which it's
Yeah.
always going to be a plus for you guys.
Yeah, well, that's if I think of anything or remember anything, then I'll message you on Telegram.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then if you have more questions or you run into some confusion, we can get another session going, and we can knock that out. So I'm here, I'm available. So if you guys have questions, always feel free to reach out, and I'll be there to answer for you.
Brilliant, thank you.
Definitely. Okay. So any other questions? Or are we done for today?
No, that's it. Thank you. Done.
Perfect. All right, cool. So are you going to be trading tomorrow? You should probably not trade on Fridays. That's another thing that I should tell you. Maybe, or actually for you, it's fine because you're in London. So you can trade a UK London session. But once you enter US session, I would take it easy and not
Yeah,
enter anything because that's usually when the market starts to move a little unusually.
that's when you come live, isn't it, on YouTube,
Yeah, I usually
which
go
is
live. Yeah, I
about
usually go
two
live.
thirty in the afternoon for us.
Oh yeah, you guys are midday. Yeah, when I go live during that time, I usually warn everybody that I even warn
It's
myself,
Friday.
yeah, not to trade because usually when I take a trade on Friday, it usually doesn't end well. So
Yeah,
it's better to just sit it out if possible.
yeah. Okay, definitely will.
Okay, perfect. So anything else? Or are we good for now?
Oh, that's it. Thank you very much.
All right, definitely. So I'll talk to you soon, and if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I definitely will do. Thanks, Shawn.